Hi everyone! In this video we will factor the greatest common factor from a polynomial. Factor 55x to the fourth minus 30x to the third y to the third minus 15y squared. The first thing we need to look for is the number that is the greatest number that will go into 55, 30, and 15. 55 is 5 times 11, and since the others are not divisible by 11, but they are divisible by 5, our greatest common factor is the largest number is 5. That'll go into all of those. Now let's look at the variables. The first one has x to the fourth. The next term also has an x, but it also has a y, but the first doesn't have a y. And the third has a y, but no x. So actually none of the variables are in common because they don't all have something that's in every single one. Since the last one doesn't have an x and the first one doesn't have a y, we're stuck. So the greatest common factor in this one is just 5. So we can pull this out of all three of those terms by dividing each of them by 5. So we'll put the 5 on the outside and set up our parentheses, and what we're left with goes on the inside. 55 divided by 5 gives us 11, and we didn't divide any of the variables, so we still have x to the fourth. Then subtract, because a negative divided by a positive is negative. 30 divided by 5 is 6, and again, we didn't divide any of the variables, so everything remains. And the last one, 15. A negative 15 divided by a positive 5 is a negative 3. And again, the variable y squared, because none of the variables were factored out. And we can always check this by doing the distributive property. So let's go ahead and do that. Into all three terms, 5 times 11 is 55, and we have x to the fourth. We have a positive times a negative, which is negative. 5 times 6 is 30. And again, we have x to the third, y to the third, because nothing changed. And 5 times negative 3 is negative 15, and we have the y squared. And we'll notice that they match, which tells us that we correctly factored out the greatest common factor from this polynomial, and we're all done.